Hello, everyone, and thank you for participating in this new cycle of Innovate Together. Before starting, I will give you a little bit of context. So this event is organized by four clusters of the greater region: Lux Innovation, Skywin, MecaTech, and Materalia. And this year, we also have the pleasure to welcome a partner cluster that is invited from that come from Spain, from Asturias. So last year we already organized a first cycle, which aimed to show you the possibilities of funding, as well as some success stories of companies that have beneficiated from European funding. And this year, we want to go even further by initiating an active consortium creation process. And to do this, we have built an approach based on several stages that I will present to you in a few moments. But before, what we want to do with those presentations, we really want to foster the collaborative innovation project between our different cluster ecosystems. And in order to do this, we will have a first step where we will try to achieve interconnection between our different partner or different ecosystem. We want to inform you and inspire you by giving you example and illustrate some example illustrating the public funding that are available for your idea and your project. And after that, we will encourage you to register in a platform that we will give you a bit later, where you will be able to submit your project and your idea. So as I told you, we will have a different step, and the first one is this week. It's organized in 4 different webinars. The first one, which is right now, is about the advanced and sustainable by design material. It will be followed by a second one right after. At 11, we will speak about digitalization and human-robot collaboration. Later on this week, we will have a presentation on circular economy and energy transition in industry. And on Saturday, we will have a bottom-up initiative for all the project ID that didn't fit in the 3 first. So as I mentioned in the introduction, this session will be organized in a different step. The first one the 4 webinars of this week will aim to give you the presentation of the different members, the different call, and some example of funding. After that, you will have until the 21st of May to register to the platform and submit your idea, your need, and sign up for the workshops. After the 21st of May, we will analyze all the input we received in order to organize the said workshop by the 17th of June. And in those workshops, we will be able to work more closely on your different idea and to really build consortia with you. And as you can see, we will provide you the link to register to this platform later. Before we go any further, I just want to tell you, if you have any question, you can ask them directly through the question mark in the platform. There is a chat, and right next to it, you have a question. All the questions we will look at them at the end of this presentation, and we will answer you in live. Okay, so for today's moderator, there will be me, Jeremy Keller from Materalia. we were supposed to have Pierre-Jean Fondu from the pole Skywin, but he will join you a bit later on those on this cycle, and we will have Anthony Bievelez from also from Skywin that will co-animate this webinar with me. So now we will start the presentation of the 4 cluster. I will start by Materalia. Materalia, we are a competitiveness cluster that is based in France, in the Grand-Est region. We have 310 members with 82 SMEs. We are working on different fields of interest. We are working mainly on additive manufacturing, the factory of the future, and the digital transition. We are working as well on advanced material and new processes, and the circular economy, green transition, and responsible research and innovation. So those are the field of interest we are, our members are working within, and we want to carry on working on those for the next European program. So we can provide you different expertise like consortia identification, partner search. We organize events to foster the networking between and the relation between different members. We can help in European project by having dissemination and communication event, by having some activities that are linked to the economic intelligence, to mapping, stakeholder engagement. And if you have any question, you are welcome to join me directly. So now I will give the floor to Anthony that will present the other partner.
Thank you, Jeremy. So from Paul Skywin, and I will introduce our counterparts of MecaTech right afterwards. We are a competitivity cluster representing about 160 companies and research centers in Wallonia, Belgium, which is the southern part of Belgium. We are specialized in aeronautics, space, drones, defense industry, and engineering. With some specialties, as you see below, in materials, composites, and metallic, embedded systems, so most electronics, applications, embedded applications as well for space and drones, as well as Earth observation and satellites and small satellites. Simulation, computer animated simulation is one of our specialties as well. So our intention in Skywin, as well as in MecaTech, is to promote collaboration between industry and universities and research centers. So we have quite a pool of projects there, 3 times a year with calls to make innovative collaboration. As well, we tend to translate this kind of projects to other partners internationally. So we have one project with Canada and one with France as well in photonics. The point of our position here is to support the greater region cluster to give the opportunity to other industries and research centers to join us in European projects or transborder projects, or specifically in these regional projects that we can support. We are working together with NCP. Yoni is here and he will introduce a bit of NCP afterwards, as well for the European projects themselves. So as I mentioned, MecaTech is basically doing the same thing as Skywin, with a specific focus on the industry and the process of the industries themselves, as Skywin is more focused on the aeronautics and space. As you see, about 300 members, basically the same research centers and the universities are part of MecaTech as well. Advanced materials, advanced manufacturing, mechatronics, So robotics, IoT, AI, machine learning are their main focuses. They will provide, I think we have Thibaut van Rodent with your contacts, as you see on the bottom left of the screen. You can contact him if you have any specific interest in these areas. The coordinates of my colleague Pierre-Jean are as well in the previous slides. In addition to Skywin, MecaTech does provide some specific support for the first step to the European projects as well in collaboration with NCP. Now, the fourth partner in this collaboration is Lux Innovation, who is the Luxembourg main innovation center supporting industries and research centers for innovation, business development, and cross-sector cooperation. Industry 4.0, additive manufacturing, automation, and robotics are their main interests as far as this inter-regional webinar is concerned. In the plastic loop and plastic recycling, they also help the industry. And of course, they are promoting their own region and industry, obviously. Caroline Müller is their point of contact, as you can see on the bottom left of the screen. Now, back to business. We are, as Jeremy mentioned earlier, the first of 4 sessions. Second one, as you have seen in the pop-up, will be happening right after this one. You may register either via the link you received via email earlier or via this pop-up. If it is still on, you may dismiss it. It will be easier for your reading. We would like to get to know you. So one pop-up is supposed to appear. If it doesn't, I will be asking the question via chat, just to know the basics about you. If you are used to European projects, the protocols, or if you are not, and so that we can customize a bit our presentation and the approach here to support your needs in an adequate manner. First main presentation. I did hear something like it. First main presentation will be done by Yoni Mercier from NCP in Wallonia about the materials industry in Eurozone Europe. And the second one is from our guest Ruben Cotto Gonzalez. Excuse my pronunciation, please, Ruben, from Idonial Competence Center, which is specialized in advanced materials and new steels. You are invited to ask all your questions via the question box on the upper right side of your screen, or give a chat if you please as well. But the questions will be moderated and a synthesis will be approached at the end of the webinar. If we don't have the answer now, we will do follow-up information either personally or in a general manner through the emails that you provided us. And then we will tell you about the next steps. So I believe now we have indeed the first presentation. So Yoni, I think you have the floor. You're on stage and you can switch. Thank you, Yoni. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Hello, everyone. Very nice to be here today to talk a little bit about Horizon Europe and try to start that discussion to allow you all to talk about possible collaboration. As Anthony said, my name is Yoni Mercier. I am the NCP in Wallonia for Transport Space, Industry 4.0, and Advanced Material. So for those who don't know us, NCP, we're the official organism. We are recognized by the European Commission to help entities to reach that European funding level. So we have several roles. We inform, we help select the topic, the programs, we help networking, construct projects, and we help reporting and reviewing the applications. And here today, to help with that information, I'm here to support all the clusters in this great ideas that they had in putting those workshops together, and explain a little bit more about Horizon Europe. So Horizon Europe, I'm sure most of you have seen this image by now. So it's the new big program by the European Commission. It's going to go from 2021 to 2027 with a budget of 95.5 billion, so a little bit more than Horizon 2020. And we'll have main purpose will be all across the board to reach the objective of the European Green Deal, and to try to develop those diverse objectives from the European Commission. By right now, we don't have all the exact date for the opening of the calls. We know it's probably going to be middle of May, most of them probably around the 15th of May. But again, it's still draft. It's been pushed back already once. It was supposed to be mid of April, so we're still waiting for the last go from the European Commission. But no matter what, it will be probably before the end of May, so between the 15th and the 31st. So today I'm going to talk here about advanced material. So here we're going to be situated in the cluster 4, intitulated Digital, Industry and Space. So how are the clusters and the ideas, the topic found by the European Commission? And I just realized this slide is half in French, half in English. I'm sorry about that. So basically, the European Commission takes all the challenge, all the problematics that they want to address and compile them together. So we're going to have the environmental challenges with the Green Deal. We're going to have everything that is linked to societal challenges, like the aging of the population. Right now, of course, we have everything linked to the pandemic, and of course, the development of digitalization and the emergence of the Industry 4.0. And so taking all this into account, they mix it up, have several parts. On one side, the legislative decision, and on the other side, the research and development decision, which was the base for Horizon Europe. And so from all these challenges, all those thematics, they developed work program, which then they divided into calls with specific focus area. And then from those focus area, they developed clear topics with clear, really clear objective that they want each topics to reach. Oh, that was not supposed to be. So the first destination in this is climate neutral, circular, and digitized production. So this is a destination, so it's the big axis by the European Commission. And it's a bit mixed up here because we basically, it is oriented towards production. So we're going to talk about, of course, 4.0 industry, but since we have that European Green Deal mind, everything needs to be climate neutral and starting to think circular. Like the title of this workshop, it's safe by design and sustainable. And so through those key strategic orientations, so developing the strategic economy, creating a more resilient, inclusive European society, we're going to have some specific outcomes that the European Commission is waiting. So to create a new green, flexible, digital way to build, produce goods, of course, we're going to have transforming the factories to make them sustainable, resilient, by using all the tools of digitalization and ICT tools that have been developed. Of course, making sure that we enhance the durability and the recycling of products and components to reduce waste and make the bridge between humans, the new jobs, and make sure that everything stays, let's say, in the good direction, and there is no social problems emerging by those discoveries in the next future. So the deadlines for this calls, so it's going to be basically the same for all the cluster 4, more or less. So we're going to be in September. So here especially, we're going to be on the 23rd of September for the call in 2021, and with a deadline on the 30th of March for 2022. So here, keep in mind, it's not too late. If you're still interested, it's actually the perfect timing, because the commission was a little bit late giving us all the information. We've been now hearing for the past 2 weeks consortium starting to talk, starting to be created. So if you are interested, it is the good time to hurry, but it's not too late. So here we're going to have 2 topics mainly for material. So of course there is a lot more topics, but I'm just making here a really clear focus on the calls for materials. So we have one in 2021 on manufacturing technologies for bio-based materials. So this one is clearly mixed with a 4.0 industry. So we're going to create bio-based material with a clear focus on manufacturing technology. So it's going to be in research and innovation action. So that's 100% funding for any entity, for project for 4.6 million. And then we'll have one in 2022 on products with complex functional surfaces. The second destination for materials here is to clearly go and increase the strategic value of the industry in Europe. And so for that, there is a clear aim to the thematics that are going to have an impact on the whole chain. So we're going to go develop raw materials with the value chain evolution, here too, trying to think more about circularity, recycling from the design. We're going to go and address advanced material as well, going with the sustainable by design to try to develop and reach the Green Deal objective. Of course, implement circularity in the value chain and prepare the big company, but also the SMEs and startups that wants to go into these topics. So here the deadlines are the same. So we have for 2021, the 23rd of September, and 2022, the 3rd of March. And a little bit more topics for, and here it's 2021. I'm sorry, there's a lot of mistakes in this presentation. It's the call for 2021, a lot more topics for material, with a clear focus here on circularity, like I said, and self by design. So if you're interested in composite materials, this is a very interesting topic. 100% of financing, 3 projects up to 8 to 9 million per project. We have 2 topics very similar, based on the development and design of safe and sustainable materials, so polymeric materials and metallic coatings. And then one oriented more on hydrogen storage, so trying to develop those porous materials, advanced materials to increase hydrogen storage. And one last on antimicrobial, antiviral nanocoatings, with a clear here focus on COVID-19 and the future pandemic. Some calls for 2022 as well. So with the same topics as usual, like I said, we're going to work on advanced materials. We're going to try to implement that safe and sustainable by design, and to have an impact on other industries, to implement that circularity, that green impact. And here we can see that through working on membrane for gas separation, or going into development of advanced lightweight materials for energy sufficient structures. The last destination here where we're going to see some pure materials topics is the destination 4, with here a clear overview to push the digital emerging technologies, and of course with a clear mind to go towards the European Green Deal. Here it's a destination with a little bit more diverse thematics and topics, but in those digitally and emerging technologies, we're going to find some very promising topics like quantum, for example, low power components, and materials a little bit more advanced here towards future with low TRL in research. When I'm talking about low TRL, it's still, we're not in fundamental research. We're TRL 3 to 4. Here, the deadline are going to be a little bit earlier. So the 8th of September for 2021 and the 5th of April for 2022. So like I said, we're still in the month of September, so you're still in the good time to develop this. The call 2021, so we have only 3 topics here for 2021. One on spintronics, trying to go and work on the spin and what we're learning on the spins. Then we have here again the mix between 4.0 industry and materials, with the development of technology and device, but with a clear mind to develop manufacture biointelligent materials. So we're talking about bioactuators, biosensors, everything that can be applied to this thematics. And then one last on functional electronics for green and circular economy. So this is really a big thing to keep in mind here, is in Horizon Europe, we don't have a clear set of topics for materials, for digital, for anything. Everything is linked together. All the thematics work together, and it's very rare to have something only materials, because the point is to have a clear impact on every industry and all the society. And so everything needs to be thought together. And lastly, the call 2022. So here, there's going to be a special push on graphene and 2D material-based device and composites. But here, some very nice ARA, so 100% of funding. IA, so it's 70% of funding, and CSA, 100% of funding. What next? So if you're interested by those topics, so here we are in this part with the topic identification, basically deciding, are you interested in going forward to this? It's very important to ask that question, because yes, it's nice to see that there is possibilities to get funding for the European Commission, from the European Commission, but it's also very time consuming. It's a lot of work, and so you need to be sure that it goes along with your internal roadmap. Of course, for that, you have a lot of person to help you and have a better idea. You can also start, if you have the go, identify some partners, and for that you have different possibilities with the base project, with brokerage events. Of course, we are available at NCP Wallonia for that. And of course, the best advice I can give you, as always, is to reach your network, reach your clusters, and try to use your network to find possible partners in this. Then, of course, you'll have the redaction and submission of project. If you want, we can also help you trying to figure it out a little bit through this one-page expertise description, which can help you, in a way, sell yourself to a consortium by identifying very clearly the topics, what concrete contribution you can bring to the project, and or just talk to your clusters. I'm sure they have this kind of tools as well to try to reach people out. So that's it for me today. Thank you very much for following me. I'm sorry again for the couple mistakes in my presentation, and I wish you all a very good day.
Thank you, Yoni. Thank you, Yoni, for this presentation. I would like to remind you all that the question tab is available for you if you have any specific question or just the chat if you want to say hello. Maybe why not introduce yourself and your company in the chat. The poll still on the upper right corner of your screen is asking you to give in 3 questions the level of where you are in your habit or use for the submitting or investigating European projects. So we do invite you to fill that in. That will allow us for this or the next events to customize our interventions. Just before introducing our next speaker, I would like to mention as well in the greater region, there is a bit of Belgium, a bit of France, Luxembourg, and as well a bit of Germany. And the entity in charge in Germany is SARIS, that you will find at saris.de. So they are not intervening today, but they will be, of course, quite happy to support the companies and industries in Germany to join the current program and initiative. So I will provide to you the contact point, which is Nicole Boissier, in the chat. There you go. So our next speaker, I'm very glad to welcome a special guest here, not from the greater region, but from Spain, Asturias, which is in the north of Spain. So Ruben Coto Gonzalez will be from Idonio, Competence Center, will be talking to us about the capabilities and strategies to develop advanced and sustainable metallic materials in Asturias. So nice overview. Thank you, Ruben. Do share your presentation, and the floor is yours.
Okay.
We see it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony, for your presentation and for inviting us to this webinar. And good morning, everyone. My name is Ruben, and I work in Strategy and Business Development for Metallic Materials Department at Idonial Technological Center. And also, you said this presentation is focused on the capabilities and strategies to develop advanced and sustainable metallic materials in Asturias. Idonial is a technological center founded in the early 90s in Asturias, and nowadays has a staff above than 160 researchers with more than 30 years of experience in research projects related mainly to the development of metallic materials, advanced manufacturing, and digital industry. Idonial also is a founding member of Meta Industry Cluster and also a member of the board of directors since its foundation. Our activity is organized in mainly 5 departments: engineering and simulation, materials development, advanced manufacturing, digital industry, and technological services. Of course, these technological areas are close connected to offer end-to-end solutions to the industrial sector, from the raw materials to the manufacturing processes and products. Our experience and facilities allow to covering the entire value chain of the metallic materials through the different stages: design and simulation of the materials, experimental development at pilot plant scale, and complete characterization or validation of the manufactured components. Regarding to our capabilities in the first stage of design and simulation of the metallic material components, Idonial has numerical and physical simulation capacities. Through CAD engineering using finite element methods, SolidWorks, CATIA, Autodesk Inventor, ANSYS, or Thermocal, is possible to simulate processes as complex as rolling bending, heat treatments, welding, or additive manufacturing. And later, physical tests like dilatometry, thermogravimetric studies, metallographic characterization, or X-ray diffraction are used to validate the previous results of the numerical software techniques. Also, Idonial Technological Center has remarkable pilot plants, which allows the development of new experimental metallic materials, and where it's possible to simulate the industrial process parameters of the conventional metallurgical route like melting and casting, hot and cold rolling, or coating, and also for additive manufacturing. Forward slide. Experimental grades developed at pilot plant scale are fully evaluated to quantify their main difference regarding to industrial grades. Of course, chemical analysis, tensile tests, or optical and electronic observations, but also in use properties, mainly fatigue and fracture mechanical tests, corrosion evaluation, tribological behavior, or residual stresses under the service life operating condition of the components. Third, tests are made on samples and also on the entire components, as it can be observed in the images below in this slide. On the left is showed a tribological test between two small samples, and picture below on the right shows the contact between a train rail wheel and a rail at real scale. Therefore, Idonia owns the experience and the facilities required for the development of advanced and sustainable metallic materials, as I showed in the previous slides. And now I'll show you some examples of the strategies developed during 3 recent research projects. This first one is regarding to the design of 2 new chemical compositions, their experimental development and later validation, in order to develop 2 new experimental grades of triple steels. This work was in collaboration with a steelmaker company for the automotive sector. As it can be observed in the graph, it's possible to develop steel grades with the optimal properties for each component or application. Well, in fact, there are more than 200 of steel grades for the automotive sector nowadays, featuring an array of properties, including formability up to 60% and strengths from 200 to 1,900 megapascals. Another road, the second example, to obtain sustainable metallic materials is through the circular economy, as I show you in this slide. Regarding to a research project focused on the development of the aluminum strontium 5% master alloys, which is used as a grain refiner in aluminum foundries. In this case, through the addition of a waste with reduced strontium content. Results obtained from this experimental research allow to reduce the cost of the master alloy, aluminum strontium, and also, and not less relevant, to decrease the environmental impact of the industrial activity, regarding mainly to the conventional option, mainly based on the addition of strontium in other formats with higher purity grades. And finally, last slide shows an example of the redesign of the structure of a minibus, incorporating new commercial advanced steel grades with the aim to reduce the weight of the structure. Results of this project allowed to achieve an overall 50% weight reduction, and the costs were decreased close to a 40%, more or less. These are only 3 examples of different strategies developed during some recent research projects. But if you want additional information, of course, you can contact with us. And that's all. And of course, thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Ruben. Here we go. I will switch. Or if Natalie will help me to switch to the other presentation that I can't see in my stack. Anyway, I would like to remind you that we have questions are open. A few have been asked. Thank you, Natalie. A few have been asked already about some details. As mentioned, we will send you the replay of this presentation through the email you have provided us. So that is public. Presentations we'll see and give you the input there as well. So we will ask you to register to share your ideas and needs and sign up for the workshop in June as well through that email reminder. So as you see on the bottom, here we go. Thank you, Natalie. So you see a pop-up that just appeared. That in there you can register for the next steps of the presentation of this webinar series and the following steps. So the 4 webinars you see on the left of your screens are have just been kicked off and will be going on throughout the week. Until the 24th of May, you may register and provide your input for the pool of ideas. The Greater Region team that presents this webinar series will be analyzing the inputs received, so that for the beginning of June, we are shooting for the 17th. We will proceed with the workshops. So if any other speaker would like to add anything, as I see no question being asked, I will thank you for your participation in this webinar. In about 20 minutes, we'll start the second part of this webinar series based on human-robot interaction and more of the robotics of the manufacturing. So you may click on the link or refer to I will add the link in the chat as well. So thank you all for your participation. And see you soon. Goodbye.